All right, everybody, welcome back yet again to episode 3 of Grown Man's Game. I'm Gerrit Ritt. You know me as Ike from the Jim Rome Show. If any of you watch that, and if you are clones, you'll know that. My man next to me is Johnny Ballgame, John Collins. He had a little stint on the Jim Rome Show as well for a while, so some of you diehards may recognize him as well. So welcome back. Thanks for hitting us up the last 2 times when we've been talking a little Shohei Ohtani and a little U.S. Open. Now we're going to get into the NBA draft because that was last night, and we have some major thoughts on that, especially myself as a Hornet fan and what happened with the number 2 pick. John has a lot of thoughts on that as well. He cannot believe what went down there. So we'll get into that a little bit. We'll talk about why there were no centers, hardly any centers taken in this draft. And if they are, they're European and they're like 3 years away from being anything. So other than Victor, and tallest guy in the draft goes number 1. He's 7'4", and he wants to play shooting guard. So let's move on to that. John, welcome back, man. What do you think about our the night last night, and maybe a little something about our first 2 episodes as we get going here on Grown Man's Game?
Right, G. Good to be with you always. I'm not a huge NBA guy, but I was really just let down about your Hornets. I follow the NBA, but Scoot Henderson really has it. We know who the first pick was, but I was a little shocked at Brandon Miller. So I want to throw it back to you and how you feel about it. I just think it's a disgrace. I think Scoot's a leader that could have been a franchise leader for you guys. So
disgrace is a hard term, John. Tell me why you think it's a disgrace. I got my points, and I'll get them out to
Brandon Miller, I saw his highlights. He's active. He's wiry. I don't think he's NBA ready. I think Scoot just has that leadership. He's got great defense. If you look at the highlights, he can finish. They compare him to Donovan Mitchell. I just think that was the pick. And with LaMelo Ball, they could have figured it out.
All right, so let's get into it then. I definitely will has my thoughts as well. And the first thing you mentioned was about finishing. And that's one of the big knocks on Brandon Miller. He gets in there, he doesn't really attack and drive to the hole like Scoot does. Scoot's only 6'2", Brandon's 6'9", with all kinds of athletic ability, yet he doesn't really take it to the rack all that much. He'll settle for jump shots. He'll even back off and take threes that are maybe a little ill-advised instead of taking it to the hole. And no one on the college level could have guarded him as a 6'9" wing doing what he does with his athletic ability. He's the SEC Player of the Year. He's one of the consensus All-Americans, yet he did it all on mid-range and long 3-point jump shots and maybe in transition some. He's not attacking the rim. And I know you want shooting in the NBA, and that's great, but you still got to have someone with some fight in them and someone who wants to get to the hole.
Right. So it seems like a guy that can develop. We talked about NBA ready, right? And Scoot's NBA ready. So Miller has so much ability. He can do everything. But as you said, can he finish? Can you get him down low? Can he attack? Does he have that dog in him? I didn't see that. Does Scoot have a dog in him? Are you kidding me? That guy he's as good as I've seen in a long time.
He leads this draft in having dog in him. I think we've all knows that guy wants it more. I think he wants it more, and that means everything in this league. He wanted it enough to where he finished, and this was a stat I didn't really even know, and it's not really a stat, but the dude finished high school a year and a half early. I don't even know if you knew that. He finished high school, all his credits that he needed as a junior, and in December as a junior in high school. He left high school having basically already graduated, have all the things, and went to the G League and took that $1 million to play with the G League Ignite as a 17-year-old. And now he's played with these pros, guys that have been in the NBA and trying to work themselves back in for the last 2 years. He's only 19 years old. Guess how old Brandon Miller is? Brandon Miller's already 20. He's still technically a freshman in college. How are you a freshman in college and you're still 20 years old? He didn't graduate high school until 19. Put a little perspective on that. I graduated high school at 17.
Right.
Our birthdays are like a month apart. in months wise. He's a late November birthday, so I can understand where a lot of people will get going to high school and they enroll late and they do next year. Even then, he would have been a late 18-year-old. How do you graduate high school at 19 and you don't even start? Basically, you turn 20 like 2 months into your college year. I don't understand why he is already kind of that age, and he hasn't had the hasn't had the experience playing against these pros like Scoot has.
Thank you for venting. I love it. I mean, again, this could go down as one of the worst picks ever. Reminds me of Jordan, but
Jordan Sambui, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know who's going to be the leader of the team. That's my question, G's, for the Hornets. Like, how do they draft this guy? They're trusting LaMelo, who gets hurt like his brother. How do you not bring in a guy that you know can just set the pace? I'm shocked.
Right. So you are counting on LaMelo to be the leader of your team. Point guard, star player. He's going to be the leader of your team. Is he the leader in the clubhouse right now, though, in that locker room? I'm not in there every day. I don't know. I think the leaders in the clubhouse are Terry Rozier, who could be traded any moment, but they signed him for 3 years. He's still got 3 years left and 75 mil, so it's going to be really hard to trade him. I even think that Gordon Hayward kind of is not maybe his vocal leader in there as Rozier and LaMelo, but more of a leader by example kind of thing, even on the court. But he can't stay in the court, and this is last year, and at the trade deadline, he may very well be gone. So yeah, you're hoping that Brandon Miller is going to be a leader on your team, and I don't know if he's that guy. I think he's kind of a follower more so than a leader, and that's who you're putting your hands of your franchise in, and that's tough for me.
It's tough for me too, and I don't follow.
You don't have any skin in the game.
I love LaMelo, but it's like,
and what are the guarantees that LaMelo is there long term?
Right.
He's going to have to be re-upped at some point. Does he want to stay in Charlotte, or is he going to try to force his way out like every other major star does in a small town and force his way to Los Angeles, where he's from, or force his way somewhere else, to a bigger market, New York, whatever, who needs a point guard at that time? It may not be this year. It may be next year, and there's certainly that will happen when his rookie contract is up and he's looking at a max deal, which the Hornets will happily give, and they'll do it tomorrow if he would take it. But will he? I have no idea. So we don't even know if he's going to be there long term, which kind of explains why the Hornets also took a point guard in the first round of this draft in Nick Smith. So I'm kind of at a loss. But more so in the draft last night, other than the Hornets, which obviously we both had thoughts on, in Scoot Henderson. What are your overlying thoughts on what happened last night? Not just with the top three, because I think we all knew the top three were going to be there in whatever form or fashion they were. But as the big issue with the NBA draft right now, I know you had some thoughts on this, and it's amazing to me when we saw the player of the year last year, 7'4" Zach Edey, go back to school back at Purdue and not want any part of this draft. He may have seen something coming, John. What's going on with centers these days in the NBA and in the NBA draft?
Yeah, big men. What happened to the low post game? We talked about Timme and Oscar Tshiebwe. Why didn't they get drafted? What is going on? Why is this such a 3-point game? No one can be Steph. And we were talking about how is this going to come to a tipping point where we're going to stop with a 3-point shot, the wing defenders, because right now, Gerrit, the low post game is open. If you had a monster down low, you would be very successful. I don't get it. I really don't. So is there going to come a point when we're going to stop with these, I hate the word soft, but the 6'6" guy who can shoot a three and he can move and defend. And where's the big guy that you can get a post presence that dominates? You can be physical. Where is that? And Edey and Tshiebwe and Timme are great players and just completely overlooked.
They know how to find their shots, and that is huge in the NBA. I think they have low post moves. They're Kevin McHale-esque. A lot of these guys are. Drew Timme is an amazing down low player, but yeah, he's not 6'11", and he's not playing above the rim, but he knows how to score. He knows how to lead. There's a leader on your team.
That's your bucket.
It's just like when Jaime Jaquez got taken by the Miami Heat last night.
Good call.
He's not a rim rocker. He's not doing that. He's not jumping over people. He knows how to play. He knows how to win. And yes, he can shoot a three on occasion. And that's probably why he's getting picked instead of Drew Timme, when Drew Timme is easily the better player. And he's proven it over 4 years at the best program or the top 3 programs in the country. So, I mean, who would you not want? I made a little list of guys in the league right now who are centers, who play down low. And Jokic is the guy. Jokic is the guy who we are looking at, who's setting this tone. And hopefully he's bringing back the centers to the NBA, because you may think that he sits out there and shoots threes a lot as well, but this last year he hit less than 1 3 a game.
Right.
So did Joel Embiid. And you know, they probably all stick around the 3-point line and do things, but they don't shoot as many threes as you might think. So they're not extending the defense as much as you may think. John, I mean, who wouldn't you want on this list? Domantas Sabonis, DeAndre Ayton. I know he's got some issues with winning and whatnot, but he's still a low post presence who can hit anywhere within 10 feet. Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Mitchell Robinson, Jakob Poeltl, Alperen Sengun, Robert Williams, Walker Kessler was a massive rookie this year. And even on the Hornets, Mark Williams, these are guys who don't need to shoot threes. And yet they're finding a path in the NBA. Why won't the NBA draft more of these guys? And I think that's kind of where it's going and where it should be going again.
I don't want to get off tangent, but did you see the Bill Walton?
Not yet, but I need to, yeah.
Okay, so I was looking at that all night, like went to the rabbit hole. And you got guys like Artis Gilmore and Kareem and Bill Walton down low.
Legends. None of them shot jumpers. They weren't shooting 20-foot jumpers to spread defense. They didn't need to spread defense.
All like point centers. Understood the game. I missed that part of the game, G. The big guys, the banging around, the hard fouls. Bill talked about Maurice Lucas. Oh my gosh, the enforcer. Like, this league is so soft now, G. And it's tough for me to watch, as I've told you. I'm tired of drive and kick for a three. I just miss the big men, man.
I heard someone talking, one of Bleacher Reports and NBA TV's guys, talking about where Zach Edey would go right now. And like a few years back, even in DeAndre Ayton's class, if you were just like 3 or 4 years ago, Zach Edey's probably a top 5 pick in the league. Mm-hmm. And he's 7'4". He's a man among boys in college.
Monster.
But he said if he went into this draft right now, he may have gone undrafted. Mm-hmm. How does that happen? At 7'4", player of the year, can dominate inside and may not, especially not going in the first round, and may not get drafted at all. And just 5 years ago, he'd be a top 5 pick. And it boggles my mind. And that is the fact that you said earlier that Steph Curry has had in the game. Everyone wants to shoot threes, including big men. Kristaps Porzingis is 7'4". He wants to shoot threes. Victor Wembanyama is 7'4", wants to shoot threes. And they have a place, and that's great. And if you can do it, terrific. But a lot of these big guys can't. And that doesn't mean they shouldn't be in the league, because there is a place for them to be there and to rebound and block shots and to play hard defense.
Yeah.
And it hurts that aspect is being lost.
Right. Slow the game down. Doesn't have to be up and down, be versatile. Have your big guys, have them come in, be your 6-man, 7-man, come in and get tough buckets. But it's just kind of a lost art. But I think it's coming back. Like we said, there's a tipping point. No one can be Steph. Steph's going to retire in a few years. And I think we're going to see a revert back to a different type of physical basketball game that we talked about. Jimmy Butler, Scoot Henderson has this game. Just that low post fighting, going to the rack type of game.
It's something like if Russell Westbrook wasn't forced, if you will, to shoot threes and guys
Right.
like that, he would be a consensus, MVP for years. He's done all these numbers, put up triple double numbers without shooting threes.
Right.
And then when you say, okay, you have to shoot threes, he does, and he goes out there and bricks them. And he's still putting up triple double numbers every year. And he said, oh, well, he doesn't make his teammates better because he's trying to shoot threes. Well, because, yeah, people have been giving him crap for not shooting threes, and then he tries to, and it hurt his game. So I don't like that. And Scoot Henderson is a Russell Westbrook kind of guy. And he can dominate this league without having to shoot the long ball.
Right.
But the general public and the general NBA fan right now doesn't want that anymore.
Right.
They, guys like Josh Hart can be really great players. Also, they don't need to shoot threes. They do everything. Caleb Martin was unbelievable in the NBA Finals for the Miami Heat, and he'll shoot a three every now and then. But that's not his game either. He's playing hard defense. He's attacking the hole. He's, he's being a player that every team in this league needs and wants.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not Brandon Miller right now. Brandon Miller, I feel, I'm afraid that he's going to eventually end up being a 6'9" guy who sits on the wing and waits for someone to drive and dish to him and just shoots 12 threes a night. And that's about it. And I hope I'm wrong, man. I hope I'm wrong. I need my Hornets to hit on guys like this and to have superstars coming through the draft, because that's the only way small markets like us are going to get them. Mm-hmm. We cannot get free agents to come to us, even with a guy like LaMelo Ball who will feed these superstars the ball all the time. They will not come to us. And Brandon Miller, I don't know if he's a draw like that. We'll draw free agents, and I don't know if he's going to take us to the next level. And it hurts to say that.
I told you I don't think he's NBA ready with that body. He looks very slim and slight, but he's got all the ability in the world, man. I mean, he's the guy that we're talking about. Wing defender. I don't know about his defense too much, but he is active. He's got a good shot. He can follow up. He can rebound. He loves his rebound dunks. Saw a lot of those highlights. But yeah, what is he going to contribute long term? We'll see. It's up to LaMelo. I love LaMelo. Hang in there, though. I think you'll be all right.
I hope so. What do you think about your Lakers? I mean, they didn't do much. They have a couple no names that people don't really, off the top of their head, don't know at pick 17 and at pick 40. Mostly point guard, Hood Schifano from Indiana. He was the guy who came to them. Is that what they really needed? And then at 40, they grabbed basically a jump shooter that they need, because Malik Beasley isn't going to stay there very long. And, I don't know if that either of those are really the answer to what the Lakers need.
So, yeah, the D'Angelo Russell experiment didn't work out. I was a big fan for a while. It just seemed like he caved in the big moments. So I think the consensus is in LA that, we got to move on. I like the pick. I like the point guard. I like what he does. He looks like a really good passer. So it wasn't exciting. But we'll see. There's so much drama. We don't know. Can LeBron and Davis stay healthy? Rui, Hillbilly Kobe, Reeves. They got a lot of potential. Everyone's saying they need to add so much more. They played really well. I don't see them having to add a ton more. This is a team that was bashed, made it in the play-in, and they went to the Western Conference Finals. So maybe they need to get a little rhythm, some unity and focus, and they'll be back. And props to Rob Pelinka. Everyone who bashed Rob, suck it. Okay, so he made some great moves to save that, and so we'll see. Drama.
Well, they peaked at the right time for sure.
Yeah.
But we talked about this in episode 1. That was a peak. They were not better than the Denver Nuggets. I don't think this is a championship team, even if LeBron and AD are incredibly healthy, and they do it all because you just said D'Angelo Russell is not the answer at point guard, and they couldn't get a deal for Chris Paul. Chris Paul is now playing against them yet again in the Western Conference in Golden State. We don't have to go into whether it makes the Warriors better or not, and contenders or what have you, and their $200 million payroll. But I didn't see the Lakers get better. I don't see them signing anybody else. They just got to hope that Reeves and their younger guys get better and can play along, and D'Angelo can figure it out and be some kind of a, answer in the playoffs. He hasn't proven that he can yet. I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't know where they go from here, man. And I mean, it may be more addition by subtraction than anything else, because the way they're going to add anybody is going to be veteran minimums at best.
How about a big guy down low that we've been talking about? How about an enforcer?
If anyone needs one, it's them.
What's that?
If anyone needs one, it's them, for sure.
Every team, right? But like Draymond and LeBron are hanging out, and they're all buddies.
Draymond wants 35 mil a year, though. The Lakers don't have 30 mil to give to him.
All right, I know, but just bring someone who's that scrappy presence. The tough guy will stand up to people, loose balls, does the dirty things. I love Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's fantastic, but no offensive game really. So we'll see. They're close. It's like people don't really realize they made the Western Conference Finals, and all those games against Denver were really close. So I think they're just a couple pieces away.
Fair. And that would be amazing if they could get a center that could help AD out, because AD is one of these newfangled big men. In college, in his first few years in the NBA, he had zero ability to go out and shoot a three. And now that's all he wants to do. And I think it's hurt his game more than anything, that he wants to settle for jump shots more than just be down low and be a freaking monster and attack people, because he has the ability and he has the matchup win over almost everybody in the league he plays against, unless their names are Jokic and Embiid.
Right.
He is the third best center in this league, and he should be that center and not a step out 3-point shooting power forward, which he seems to want to be now. If anything, the 3-point wave has hurt guys like him more than it's helped him. And there are a lot of other guys in the league like that. And a center is going to help him do that and, be there and take the beating off him from other centers in the round.
I agree, and I think his defense is super underrated. He's easily top 2 or 3 defenders in the league when he wants to be. We get back to that dog thing, and he won a championship. It was in the bubble. He careered. He was shooting threes. They were all having fun and running, and man, that was special. But yeah, with AD now, you got to deal with injuries. How many games can he play? Who knows what's going on with the chemistry with that team. I feel like they have one more year left with LeBron. We can talk about Bronny on another one, whether or not they're going to draft him. But I think they can figure it out. But I have my concerns, but at the same time, I want to give them credit for what they did this year.
All right. Well, that was our quick wrap up of last night's NBA draft. I obviously went Hornet heavy because that's where I am, and that's where the big news of the draft was, at the number 2 pick. And both of us think that my Charlotte Hornets got it wrong. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. I hope we're both wrong with that, and I hope he ends up being a multi-time All-Star. But it's tough for me to see it right now. And when Michael Jordan is pulling the trigger, I love my guy, but it makes you wonder a little bit whether that was the right move or not. So there's Kobe and Jordan and LeBron. Nice one. I love it. That's the way we're going to sign off today, John. Thanks for being around, and thanks for everyone listen to F3 of Grown Man's Game.